Planning a trip to Santorini but feeling overwhelmed? Hi, I'm Chrysoula, a local travel creator here in Greece, and in this video I'm going to share the perfect 3-day Santorini itinerary with everything you need to see, savor and skip.
Here is exactly how to spend your 3 days, step by step, with tips to help you avoid the crowds and make the most of your time. Start your day in Oia, ideally early in the morning, before the crowds arrive. And if you can, try to be there before the first cruise ships arrive, because that's when Oia feels completely different, quieter, more peaceful and perfect for photos. Take your time walking through the narrow streets, explore the famous blue domes, and don't miss the views from Oia Castle. If you're up for it, you can walk down to Mevlevi Bay. It's about 300 steps, but it's absolutely worth it for a seafood lunch right by the water. And here is a really useful tip. If you're planning to eat there, some of the tavernas actually offer transfers if you have a reservation. So it's definitely worth asking when you book, especially if you don't want to walk all the way back up. Otherwise, just keep in mind that those 300 steps can feel quite intense, especially in the summer heat, so wear comfortable shoes and take your time. Later, head to Fira, the island's capital. Walk along the caldera, stop at the cafe, and if you're interested in history, you can visit the Museum of Prehistoric Thera. If you want a quieter and more scenic stop, make your way to Mevlevi, one of the most beautiful spots on the island. And for sunset, yes, Oia is famous, but it gets extremely crowded. So if you want a more relaxed experience, I would recommend Skaros Rock in Mevlevi or even Fira. Start your day with one of the most memorable things you can do on the island, the Firatua Hike. It's about 10 kilometers along the caldera, and the views in the entire way are incredible. You will pass through villages like Fyrostefani and Mevlevi, and honestly, it feels like walking through a postcard. If you don't want to do the full hike, you can just walk part of it. Even going as far as Mevlevi is a great option and still gives you some of the best views. And if you prefer, you can even do the shorter section in the afternoon and time it with sunset. It's a beautiful and much less crowded alternative to Oia. I recommend starting early in the morning if you're doing the full hike, especially in the summer, and bringing water and sun protection. There is very little shade along the way. If you prefer something more relaxed, you can skip the hike and spend the day at the beach instead. Santorini's beaches are very different from what you might expect. They're volcanic, with black sand and a really unique landscape. Two of the best options are Pyrgos and Kamari. Pyrgos has a more laid-back vibe, with beach bars, restaurants and plenty of space to relax. Kamari is a bit more organized and easier to access, with a long promenade full of cafes and tavernas. Both are great if you want to swim, unwind and enjoy a slower pace for the day. Just keep in mind the black sand can get very hot in the summer, so bring water, sunscreen and something for your feet. And in the afternoon, this is where I would plan something really special, a sunset catamaran cruise around the caldera. This is honestly one of the best experiences you can have in Santorini, because you get to see the island from a completely different perspective. Most tours start with a hotel pickup and then you'll sail out into the caldera, heading first towards the hot springs, where you can swim in warm mineral-rich waters. From there, you will continue along the coast, stopping at spots like the Red Beach and the White Beach, which are only accessible by boat, so it's a really unique way to experience them. There is also time for swimming and snorkeling, and while you're on board, you will be served a barbecue meal with drinks and music, so it's a really relaxed and enjoyable experience. And then the highlight, watching the sunset from the water with the caldera around you, which is honestly unforgettable. I've linked the exact catamaran cruise I recommend in the description below. It's one of those experiences that's really worth booking in advance, especially during the summer. Day 3 is about slowing down a bit and discovering a more local, less crowded side of Santorini. Start your day in Pyrgos, the island's highest village. It's much quieter than Oia or Fira, with narrow streets, traditional houses and panoramic views over the island. Then head to Emporio, one of the most atmospheric villages in Santorini. Its medieval layout, small alleys and castle-like structure give it a completely different feel, almost like stepping into another era. If you're interested in history, this is also a great day to visit Akrotiri, the ancient Minoan city that was preserved under volcanic ash. You can actually walk through its streets and see how people lived here thousands of years ago. It's often compared to Pompeii. And in the afternoon, I would plan something a bit more special and very Santorini, a guided wine tour across the island. Santorini has a winemaking history that goes back over 3,500 years, and what makes it really unique is the volcanic soil and the way the vines are grown in these traditional basket shapes. On this kind of tour, you'll usually visit 3 different wineries and taste around 12 local wines, including varieties like Assyrtiko, Nichteri and Visanto. Depending on availability, stops can include places like Estate Argyros, Veneziano's Winery or even the Wine Museum of Koutsogiannopoulos. So you get a mix of beautiful views, history and different styles of wine. The tastings are usually paired with local products like cheese and olives, which makes the whole experience even more enjoyable. And if you choose an afternoon or sunset tour, it's a really beautiful way to end your time in Santorini, a lot more relaxed and away from the crowds. I've linked the exact wine tour I recommend in the description below. It's a great way to experience a more authentic side of Santorini. Now, before we wrap up, here are a few practical tips to help you plan your trip a bit more smoothly. So let's start with how to get to Santorini. You've got 2 main options. You can fly, which is the fastest and easiest way. It's about 45 minutes from Athens, and during the summer there are also direct flights from many European cities. Or you can take a ferry from Athens, usually from Piraeus. It's a more scenic option, but it takes longer, around 5 to 8 hours depending on the type of ferry. Now, once you're on the island, let's talk about where to stay. If it's your first time in Santorini, I would recommend staying in Fira. It's central, well connected, and makes it really easy to get around the island. Oia is the most famous area, with incredible views and a more romantic atmosphere, but it's also the most expensive and gets very crowded. If you're looking for something quieter but still with amazing views, Mevlevi is a great option. And if you prefer to be closer to the beach, then areas like Kamari or Perissa are more relaxed and usually more affordable. I've added my recommended areas and places to stay in the description below. Now, let's look at how you'll be getting around Santorini. Getting around Santorini is relatively easy, but it really depends on your travel style. There is a public bus network that connects most of the main towns and beaches, and it's the most budget-friendly option. And if you're planning to use the bus, it makes a lot of sense to stay in Fira, because that's where the main bus station is, so it's much easier to get around the island from there. If you want more flexibility, renting a car or a scooter is usually the best option, especially if you want to explore places like Pyrgos, the lighthouse, or some of the quieter beaches. Taxis are limited and can be quite expensive, especially in the summer, so I wouldn't rely on them as your main way of getting around. So there you have it, how to spend 3 perfect days in Santorini, from iconic views and cliffside villages to unique experiences like the sunset cruise and wine tasting. This itinerary helps you see both the highlights and a more local side of the island. If you're planning your trip, I've added all the tours and resources I mentioned in the description below to make things easier for you. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Greece travel guides. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!